to the Speedway Tavern. Enjoy the show. Welcome to the Speedway Tavern. What do you need to know? Have a drink, have your say. All opinions here today. Welcome to the Speedway Tavern. Enjoy your stay. Michael, Matt, and Chris are here today. Welcome to the Speedway Tavern. Come and have your say.
And welcome to the Speedway Tavern. Once upon a time, two wise and knowledgeable Speedway gurus put their heads together, and in their wisdom they deemed that Birmingham Speedway would huff and puff, but in the end fail honourably to hold on to their 4-point lead. Whilst a would-be Speedway guru, armed with little knowledge and a successful prediction that Danny King would be British champion, predicted a Birmingham win. The two wise men were wrong, whilst once again the idiot succeeded, and so did Birmingham, National Trophy champions. So, take a bow once again, Chris Webby Brown. Okay. Only in Speedway.
SRBRadio.com.
Okay, we're working hard at yeah. Okay, what's good?
I'm going to speak now into the microphone.
What a great idea! Yeah. What a great idea! So, in the room we have Chris the Guru Brown.
Good evening.
Trying to get things working. I'm not quite sure what's happening. No. And we have to my right Matt.
Good
Buck.
evening.
And Joe's not here. Where's he gone? What have you done with Joe?
I don't know. You tell me.
Goodness sake, can't get the staff. So,
well, we only let him out on certain days.
Yeah, this is true. This is true. So, before we start talking about champions, once again, stuff's been going on down at Hall Green. So, perhaps you could fill us in, Matt.
Yeah, 2-year reprieve for Hall Green.
Okay.
There was talk, of course, of the Brummie's former home being redeveloped for housing, but that's now been deferred by the council, I believe, for 2 years, so Hall Green will continue as a dog track stadium for at least 2 more years.
Okay,
which has got to be good news.
Oh. Well, I would say so. Although I have heard the opinion that if Perry Bar was the only dog racing in Birmingham, it would be much more likely to stay on. I've heard that as an opinion. I don't know what you. Throwing it on you there. I mean, it's not something I agree with particularly, but. Well, you can sort of see the logic behind it there.
Well, I believe so. I mean, Birmingham now is the biggest city that has greyhound racing, because of course there's no greyhound racing in London anymore.
No.
Obviously Bellevue in Manchester, although they're, as far as I'm aware, the crowds for that haven't been particularly brilliant in recent times. I mean, greyhound racing is such a popular event. It's not really a sport. It's just basically an excuse for people to go and have a laugh and just not just put sort of less than serious bets on it, whatever. So, but no, it's good news. Obviously, a tremendous stadium, and of course, I don't think there's any really realistic chance of Speedway ever returning there.
No.
But you never know.
Not unless they have electric bikes. Okay, I just guess we should make.
Of course, the plaque. Let's not forget.
Oh, yes,
the plaque was there, installed there a few weeks ago by my dad, Brian Buck, and John Hart, I believe.
Yeah, I believe we got some pictures.
Of course, to commemorate the fact that it's the Brummie's former home.
Mm-hmm. Was it their first home?
No, it wasn't.
Was it? So it was
the other Perry Bar across the road was the original home, I believe.
I'm sure somebody will correct us on that.
I'm sure my dad will.
Yeah. So. Now, before we sort of carry on with the show, I'm going to give my normal sort of information that if you want to take part in the show, please do, because the show is very much about what you want to do and what you want to say and your opinions. So if you want to do that, we have got the shout box when you go to sports-radio.co.uk. We've also got other ways of communicating with us, and which the Guru will now tell us.
Yeah, you can keep in touch with us on our Facebook page, which is /Brummies. So just put facebook.com/Brummies, and you can join in there.
Fantastic. We're going to be taking a short holiday in a couple of weeks because we're going to try and brighten the show up a little bit. We've got a few ideas of how we're going to do that, and we want to get that sorted out. So we may disappear in a couple of weeks, but don't fear, we will be back.
Oh, thanks for letting me know.
Yeah. So, and are we back up on Facebook now? Is that all?
We
working?
are, yeah.
Fantastic.
We didn't go off, actually.
Oh, okay.
We're still there, yeah.
Okay.
It's good, yeah.
It was just you. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay. So, before much more ado, I'd like to go over the results for the past week.
Go on then.
So this is what's happened in Speedway since we was last on air. So we've got Swindon versus Lakeside. They won 52-41. That was quite an important meeting, wasn't it?
At the top of the league, yeah.
Yeah,
So.
top of the league. Ipswich versus Newcastle in the Premier League. That was postponed. Sheffield versus Redcar in the Premier League. This is all on the 23rd. 51-41. And again, we've commented a few times this year on some really tight matches in the Premier League. Seems to have been quite.
It wasn't a Berwick on Monday, I can tell you that.
Okay. Yeah, I missed that match actually. So you
Didn't miss a lot.
Yeah. We have the Isle of Wight versus Kent in the National League, and Edinburgh versus Glasgow in the Premier League. Both on the first one on the 23rd, the second one on the 24th. They were both postponed. That was boring. 24th. Plymouth versus Ipswich, Premier League, 42-48. Another close one. Redcar versus Sheffield, 45-all. Mm-hmm. This is what we're saying. Again, Premier League. Bellevue versus Stoke, 53-37 in the National League. Rye House versus Plymouth. We're going to the 25th now. Rye House versus Plymouth, 35-25. I imagine that was an abandoned meeting then. Workington versus Somerset, postponed. Stoke versus Bellevue, 44-46 to Bellevue. I would have expected Bellevue actually to do a better job than 44-46, but
They won the meeting, though.
yeah, well, quite. On the 26th, Newcastle versus Scunthorpe, Knockout Cup in the Premier League, postponed, and Newcastle versus Scunthorpe, Premier League, postponed. So, did they have two matches? Is that a double header?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was, yeah.
So on the 26th, Rye House, the British Youth Championship, round 4 was won by Kevin Bickley. So well done, Kevin. Buxton versus Rye House, National League, postponed. 26th of the 6th, 16. Coventry versus Birmingham. We'll talk about this a little bit later. 29-61. That's a hell of a score away from home, isn't it?
Not a good score that's not a good result for Speedway, I don't think.
Not good,
to be honest.
certainly not a
It's
good
great
result
for Birmingham, don't get me wrong, but
Well, Birmingham don't operate in a vacuum, do they? So I quite enjoy beating Coventry, but come on, guys, give us a bit of competition. And Eastbourne versus Kings Lynn Knockout Cup, 61-28 to Eastbourne. Ouch.
yep.
Leicester versus Coventry on the 27th in the Elite League, 46-44. They finally won one of those last heat decider, Leicester, because they've had a few this year and they've all gone against them.
We're better to do it against Coventry.
Well, yes, Paul would be nice. Still on the 27th, Berwick versus Workington in the Premier League, 59-31. And then on the 27th of the 6th, the small matter of Kent versus Birmingham National Trophy final, 43-47. It was a hell of a result, wasn't it?
Superb result.
Yeah, we didn't pick it. But we'll obviously talk about that further and more in depth in a moment. Cradley versus Eastbourne. They did us a favour, did Cradley, and they did a demolition job of Eastbourne, really, 50-38. Would you have picked that before?
I thought Eastbourne would have pushed them a lot harder than that, to be honest.
Adam Ellis perhaps come back from injury a bit too soon.
Maybe,
Yeah. Somerset versus Peterborough in the Knockout Cup, 62-28. So I've just been going on about how good close the results are in the Premier League, and whoops. Mm-hmm. And we'll be talking a little bit about that actually, because Peterborough are already talking about wielding the axe once again, because they've already done that a few times this year. It hasn't helped them yet, has it?
No, this is it.
Isle of Wight versus Kings Lynn, Poole versus Kings Lynn, all postponed. Glasgow versus Edinburgh, 51-39 to Glasgow. I don't imagine that went down very well with the Edinburgh faithful. And
TV meeting, of course, last night.
Of course, yeah.
Yep.
And Birmingham. He sounded like he got a really nice voice.
Yeah, they're in this picture, I tell you.
Birmingham versus Mildenhall, as we all know, was postponed, and a shame we didn't get to celebrate winning the Premier Trophy. But it's going to be a much better match against Bellevue next week in the Knockout Cup, I think. So there we go. And now Webby's going to move very, very quickly, and he's going to put up the
I'm not.
tables.
I'm not, because that's gone.
Oh, okay.
You'll have to give me the Dubry in a bit.
Okay, I will give you the Dubry in a bit.
Yeah. Okay.
While I'm giving you the Dubry,
Okay.
We'll have a chat about all things Wolverhampton. What's been going on at Wolverhampton?
Well, of course, as you'd have gathered from the results that you've read out, there was no league racing action this week. But the big news really involving Wolves is the injury to Eunice Kilmacorpy, injured in Poland at the weekend, suffered knee ligament damage, and he's going to be out of action for at least a month. So that's a big blow to Wolves. Mm-hmm. We have booked Scott Nichols as a guest for the visit to Leicester on Saturday, which Eunice was going to miss anyway due to World Championship commitments. And as far as I'm aware, it's Rod replacement on Monday for the return match against the Lions. Not sure about the Bellevue trip next Wednesday, but that's really the only news that's come from Wolves in the last 7 days. So not great news, obviously, and of course we wish Eunice Kilmacorpy all the best, and hopefully he's back sooner rather than later.
What was the injury again?
Knee ligament injury.
Okay,
Did it in Poland at the weekend.
Right, so it's not a mega.
Well, it's not. Well, there's no such thing as a good injury in speedway, of course. But I mean, his form's been solid, if not spectacular. But he's one of the reasons, of course, that we're doing so well in the league at the moment.
Yeah, and of course, him being out has given an opportunity to Craig Cook in the World Championship.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we'll come on to that in a bit,
Yeah.
actually.
But I was planning to go to Leicester on Saturday, but of course no Kilmacorpy, no Lincoln, and as far as I'm aware, no Sam Masters either.
Oh gosh!
So
two guests and ride replacement.
Yeah, once again another team going to Leicester under strength.
It was very noticeable to me going through all that list of the results in the past week that there weren't many Elite League matches in there.
No, there weren't. I mean, obviously the Elite League's only got 8 clubs in it at the moment. Mm-hmm. Just unfortunate with the weather as well.
But there wasn't even many postponements in the Elite League.
Yeah, well, that's really the problem with the Elite League is the fact there's too few fixtures, and when you've only got the league to go for, there's nothing else like the Knockout Cup.
Yeah.
It's it sort of leads to long gaps in the fixture list, and I really think they need to look at that. They need to try and sort of.
I know it's something
a
that
more regular fixture list.
I know it's something that Matt Ford has been up at Poole, our favourite club, of course, has been bemoaning the lack of meetings, and he's sort of been talking once again about this squad system that he's desperate to bring in. Of course, it's easier for Poole to bring that in because they've got so many assets, I suppose. But he's also done, I don't know whether anybody's picked up on this actually, he's done this where he's been asking the Poole fan base basically their ideas, what they would like to see included in Speedway, and he's going to bring it up at the next AGM.
After engaging with his fans, that's a bit of a novelty, isn't it? So he's right in what he's saying though. I think last season, the peak time of this season, of course, is August, and I think Lakeside went the whole of August without a home meeting. They're missing out on when they could be earning revenue.
And there's also the World Cup coming up as well, which closes the Elite League down for it's about 2 weeks, isn't it?
No, just the week.
Just the week.
Just the week.
So,
but I think you can live missing a week.
Yes.
out of the
Yeah.
out of the fixture list. But when you've got gaps in the fixtures because there's no meetings to schedule in, even maybe the season's a bit too long. Maybe the Elite League season shouldn't start until the end of April.
Couple of comments before.
Okay,
we to
go
the
for it.
table. Where were you, Mike? At Kent, you should have been there. So, yeah.
I would have killed to have been there. My neighbours, right? I thought I was murdering somebody when we got that result in the penultimate heat. That was just, and what a bunch of heroes! Every one of those riders contributed in some way. I wish I was there. I would love to have been there, but 6:30 start when you finish work at 5 o'clock in Birmingham. It's just
Impossible.
It doesn't work.
Another comment regarding the poor attendance there, but I mean, as you say, it's a Monday night.
Mm-hmm.
A long
I
way to
heard,
go.
obviously I wasn't there,
Yeah.
I heard that there was quite a decent number of Birmingham fans there. I say I wasn't there, so I don't know, but it is a Monday night. England were playing, if you can call it that.
Yeah. England turned up.
I was going to say.
England went on a football pitch.
Yeah,
That's about it.
Yeah.
And then came back off again.
Yeah.
So there were lots of things against it, which is a shame. But Kent need to sort that out. I don't know what they can do and what.
It's one of the big
do.
problems in Speedo for me is the loss of weekend Speedway because I know traditionally you've always had Speedway in the week as well, but by and large the crowds in the week are nowhere near as big as they are for weekends when people have got to finish work and they've got to go home, get the dinner, get changed, and then go out again to go and watch Speedway.
I mean, I understand what you're saying. I think you're right to an extent, but I don't think. I think a bigger problem is people's working weeks now are. Like, for instance, one of my friends, he loves his Speedway. He hasn't been able to go to one match this year because his hours and so on mean that, on a Wednesday night, he's working on the night.
Yeah, and of course, there's not petrol costing a fortune either.
Yeah,
I suppose,
and also, there are people work weekends now. That a lot more people, probably more people do than don't now work those sorts of hours and shifts and so on. So, I think it's a problem for all sports in that respect, but it hits Speedway hard a bit because it's starting from a lower fan base, isn't it? So,
well, this is it. So, but
okay, so we're going to. I'm going to upset Webby now. I'm going to upset the Guru
Okay.
because I want that.
What?
So you've got me the National League table. You've got me the National League table up. I would like the Elite League table up, please. So we'll start off with the Elite League. And see, well, that must look nice for you.
it would look even nicer if it was October.
Yes. So at the top we have Wolverhampton, 14 matches, 31 points. So we'll just do the top four. So Lakeside have got 16 matches and 28 points. Swindon have 15 matches and 28 points. And Bellevue have 12 matches and 26 points. And, well, actually, we'll go to number 5 as well. Shall we?
Why not?
And at in fifth place is Poole with 11 matches and 21 points. Now, Webby's just about to pull up a little article for me about Poole not stressing too much about making the playoffs. Do you think you've got to go to the link, mate, which is to your left of that? There you go.
Sorry.
I have to teach him everything.
There we go, sorry.
Yeah. Do you think they should be stressing? It doesn't look clever, does it? That when you look at that,
it's not really. Well, it's not really going to be very inspiring to the Poole fans, I suppose. If they're saying they're not worried about whether they make the playoffs or not. I mean,
that's not what they're saying. They're saying they're not stressing that they won't make the playoffs. They still feel confident that they will.
I think, to be honest, I think Poole will still be in the playoffs. I don't think they're the favourites, but I still think there's a strong chance that they will get there.
Okay. So this is what Chris Holder says. Okay, and he's sort of backing you up as you would expect. Chris Holder insists nearly every team in the Elite League has nothing special this season. Wow.
Right. Okay.
That the way to talk the league up, eh?
Yeah.
And says the Pirates camp are not stressed by their current position. Poole are 5 points outside the playoff spots ahead of tonight's home clash with Kings Lynn. The meeting's set to end a month-long break from action for the Dorset side. Pirates are bidding to earn a fourth straight league title, a feat not accomplished in the top flight of British Speedway since Wimbledon Dons achieved it in the old National League in 1961. So he said that it's only really Wolves that have been quite good.
I've always liked Chris Holder.
Every other team has been nothing special. We have been a bit hit and miss, but we're not stressing out just yet. We've been in worse positions. We can get it together to make the playoffs, and we have the boys there to do it, so it's up to us to get it done. Over 2 legs, we've got to be one of the favourites. We have just got to get there. The main aim is to do that, and then we will see what happens.
Well, point number 1, we've already beaten Poole over 2 legs this season.
Okay.
And point number 2, haven't Bellevue been to Poole and won?
Yes, they have, yes.
Quite comfortably as well.
Yes, very comfortably. So, do you think they're going to? You honestly believe they're going to? Make
I still
the
think they'll make it.
So, who's going to be the top 4 then?
I think the top 4 will be in no particular order: Bellevue, Wolves, Lakeside, and Poole.
Bellevue, Wolves, Lakeside, and Poole.
I think Swindon will be the ones that miss out. I know
they've been very hit and miss, haven't they?
They've lost a few home meetings.
Yeah.
They've done well away, but they've had a few disappointing results at home. Obviously, the most obvious one, of course, is losing at home to Leicester.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I lost you.
Well, have I broke the camera again? Looks like I have. Well, we'll let you work on that.
Okay.
And while you're working on it, you can also bring up the National League table for us now, if you would. And I think, yeah.
There you go.
Sorry, did I say the National League table?
You did, yeah.
I meant the Premier League table. Just testing you out. See how
You
quick
didn't
you can
really.
do this. And it's to your left once again. There you go. There you go. So, no surprise to see Glasgow at the top of the pile. So you're saying that before it's even come on. How good is that?
Yeah, well, it did help that I told you before, I suppose.
It was interesting that there's been a few bits and pieces of talk from different promoters sort of seeming to suggest that Glasgow want to come into the Elite League.
They've got the money to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not totally... I mean, a lot's going to depend on the structure of the Elite League in 2017. I said before, I think Coventry will run a Brandon. Whether Leicester will run, there's a lot of internal strife at Leicester. Swindon, of course, we don't know what's happening with the new track. So there may well possibly be scope for another team going in if one of those drops out. I'm not completely convinced that the Elite League would want Glasgow
Because it's in Scotland.
because of the travelling distance. I think Glasgow's local derby will be Bellevue, so it's not. But certainly they've got the money, and Glasgow. Someone who's made it clear that he's not a big fan of the Premier League. I think Glasgow did really, really well yesterday with all the publicity that they got for the Edinburgh meeting. It was a great crowd, really good atmosphere. It was very reminiscent from watching it of the crowds that you got in the atmosphere that we got for Wolves Cradley.
Well, he's been in the press as thanking the fans for creating what he called a mini Cardiff atmosphere.
Yeah, it was a tremendous atmosphere. You really felt it coming over on the TV as well. Racing wise, it probably wasn't the best. It was still better than what we saw at Berwick on the Monday. So yeah, but that league, it's a difficult league to call at the moment. I don't think it's any formality that Glasgow are going to win it, because Sheffield are having a good season. Peterborough, of course, clearly want to win it because they're making changes, even though they're doing well. You can never rule Somerset out. They've got a lot of matches in hand. Same with Edinburgh. And really, with the exception of Scunthorpe and Redcar, it's a very competitive league, the Premier League.
Okay, so can't argue that. Have we got that table up then, Chris? There we go. So Glasgow in top spot with from 12 matches 25 points. 11 matches with 24 points is Sheffield. 10 matches with 23 points is Peterborough, and 7 matches with 22 points is Somerset. Well, there are two things that strike me from that. what a massive win Somerset had against Peterborough the other day. That was massive, and then 22 points from 7 matches. They're only
unbeaten in 7 matches.
Yeah, they're only 3 points behind Glasgow.
Yeah, this is though is one of the problems with Speedway. When you look at the gaps in the fixtures, you know, you've got teams with 12 matches, teams with 7.
I think some of that is caused
really
by the weather. Of course, you can't.
Oh yeah, of course, but you
do
know,
like
some
it.
teams have 2 or 3 home meetings a week. Others don't. So
And Dingle's come up and said, "I want Premier League." There, I said it.
He said it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm not sure we're going to get it not for a while. I've got a feeling we're not going to get
Nah.
it for a while.
I think Birmingham are probably better served. Apart from the issue with the assets, I think Birmingham are probably better served staying where they are for the
That is
moment.
that's the one possibility
Which
that
might
make
force
us
them up
go
into
might-
the-
yeah. That's
yeah.
the one thing. So
But I mean, there's often we're seeing again on the British Speedway Forum in the last 24 hours again sniping between fans of Elite League clubs and Premier League clubs about the
which is
quality
the
of
best
each other's
league? Yeah,
leagues. There's flaws in both. There's
course
flaws in the
there is.
National League as well.
of course. Yeah. Well, there's flaws in Speedway. That's the point, I suppose.
I think if you're debating it in the court of law, you'd probably say that the Elite League's a mess and ably assisted by the Premier League,
Yeah.
and the National League. There's good things in all 3 leagues. There's bad things in all 3 leagues. We just, I think in a lot of ways they probably complement each other as well. But
So
I
what
suppose when you've seen more of one league, then I've always supported the club that's been in the Elite League since its inception in '97. So I'm always going to sort of try and defend the Elite League when I can. It gets hard to do it sometimes. But
I think there's no doubt for me the quality. That's the thing. The quality of the riders and so on is better in the Elite League. Of course, it is.
I think
It doesn't necessarily mean the racing's better.
to be honest, the Elite League matches on Sky this season have been very, very good. There's been some, the Kingsley and Coventry match the other week was a really good meeting.
Yeah. It feels actually, because I think going back a couple of seasons, we was looking at, and you'd look at a match that Sky had decided to, and you'd think, well, that's just going to be a bore fest. You could tell them, that this is a really strong team and this is a really weak team, and it's not going to, why are you showing that match when you could show this other match that is going to be a good match, or it's got the potential to be a good
Bit
match.
surprised actually that Sky haven't shown a Coventry Leicester meeting yet with the rivalry between the 2 clubs. I know both clubs are struggling, but that surprised me. I mean, the Coventry Wolves meeting a few weeks ago was excellent, even though we lost. It was a really, really good meeting to watch.
Okay, so let's have a look at the National League table. We've got there.
Just before we get to the National
Okay.
League table, Stuff Premier League. After Heat 7 at Kent, it was an enthralling racing. Said Ian.
Okay, I haven't got an in to add that. There can be enthralling racing in all the leagues, but we have seen some dire matches in the National League this year. Dire not because of the quality of our riders, but because of the quality of the opposition team. And I think there is a bit. I mean, look, we've just gone to Coventry and beaten them 29-61. I don't see that happening in the Premier League, going to an away team and beating them by that much, do you?
It might happen at Scunthorpe or Redcar possibly, because they're having poor seasons. But
so, and we had a meeting this Wednesday against Mildenhall, who, let's be honest, are not going to be the biggest draw for us, because they've been to our place already this year and we've sort of trounced them. I mean, it might have been a decent crowd because we were picking up the trophy and would have had that, but so yes, we have some great racing, and I think when you got us and Kent and us and Eastbourne going and us and Bellevue going, I think those are all good matches and are going to be, it's going to be a great playoffs. I don't agree with the playoffs as we know, but I think it will be a good playoffs. I think because those will probably be the 4 teams and they're fairly evenly matched.
I think that's the big problem with Speedo, though. There's too many teams in all 3 leagues that where it's not really even.
But I think it's compounded in the National League because some of the riders, well, all of the riders to an extent, are very limited experience. And
Well, a lot of them are sort of do it as a hobby, don't they? Really, there's not many professional riders in the National League.
So I would prefer, from a personal view, I would prefer to be in the Premier League. But by the same token, I understand that not everything's rosy in the Premier League. There are problems there, and so
I know they've
anyway.
been trying to get this new format, haven't they? A couple of the matches to possibly bring it in next season.
I haven't heard about that. Tell us about that.
The only thing I've seen is that he's not having the tactical ride and letting teams make tactical substitutions even when they're one behind, which
Okay, that sounds weird.
that's what I've been told anyway.
SRBRadio.com.
Okay, before we actually, this is a good subject to talk about, because I'll be totally honest, I have missed, particularly in matches like matches that we've talked about, you know, where we're hitting 60 points and so on. I have missed the tactical element in Speedway. You know, whether you have the double points rule, whether you go back to the old system, I've missed that, and I think it provides you something to talk about and to argue about, or whatever, when you're sort of trackside, and I've missed that this year.
Yeah, I don't miss it when it sort of, you know, fabricates a result which doesn't really look even.
No, but I mean
they were saying that, you know, when they trialled it out and the lead changed hand about 8 or 9 times during the meeting. Well, that's fine, but I want to see fairness, which I think is what every Speedway fan wants to say. I don't mind a team winning by 20 points as long as the team that wins is 20 points better, not because they've used tacticals and they've had the advantage of doing that.
Okay, see, I've got this pet theory, hate, whatever you want to call it, of mine. I've expounded it before, and I probably will again, and probably nobody will listen again. But for me, the problem with any tactical rule in Speedway is what you said, is making an artificial score.
Because you're going into wrestling,
yeah.
Sort of making
but Speedway has got another big problem as well, which is home track advantage and differences in home track advantage. You know, you can't get away from the fact that Eastbourne have got a bigger home track advantage than many other teams. Rye House, perhaps not as much as they used to, because it seems to be much more dirt on their track, I've noticed recently.
Not the dust bowl.
No, it isn't, yeah. Lakeside. Wolverhampton people cite sometimes as having too big a track advantage, because
I'm not so sure about Wolverhampton, to be honest, but
people. I can remember when I first came into the Premier League in 2007. Everybody was going on about how much of a home track advantage Kings Lynn had got, and yet most people now would say that's one of the best tracks in the UK. So, you know, go figure. But my point being is, okay, there should be a tactical element in Speedway. There should be in any sport. There should be a tactical element. But its stated aim shouldn't be, which it is currently when it's being used, is to make matches closer. Well, that's artificial, as you pointed out. It should be to combat home track advantage. So therefore you only give it to the away side.
And the only other way that you could possibly do it is allow both sets of riders to have a 10-15 minutes of practice on the track beforehand, so just so they can get used to the conditions and
that's
get the set of
that's going to cause problems with planning permissions.
Of course it would, but I mean that would be ideal. I mean, because I don't think allowing teams to build up a big lead until the away team gets to go through the track doesn't always make for very good racing. No, unfortunately. No. But as I say,
sometimes it's the home team that needs it. As Birmingham's recently, we've needed the practice. But anyway, that's my opinion. So, are we going to get that National League table up now? Because
I'm still faffing around at the moment.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry,
yeah.
There we are.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. Okay. So, makes nice reading. Birmingham 8 matches with 25 points, unbeaten. Eastbourne 9 matches with 21 points. Bellevue 9 matches with 18 points. Cradley 10 matches with 18 points, and we'll go down to 5 because Kings Lynn have only had 5 matches but have got 16 points, and they also are unbeaten in the league. Cradley aren't going to do it, are they?
I'm still sticking by my prediction that Cradley won't be in the top four.
Won't.
I won't. Yeah.
I mean, I've said this to a few people, and they've
Perhaps we
said
should ask the guru though.
maybe, yeah.
I tend to agree with you there. I don't think they will be in the top 4.
I want them to be in the top 4.
Any reason?
Yeah, because I want to beat them. Of course. But also from the financial point of view, a match against Birmingham and Cradley always brings in more crowds, and if it's in the playoff, if it's a semi-final, or it's going to bring in more crowds, isn't it? So that would be my real reasoning behind that, not just because I want to beat them. I want to beat them. So, but I also want to beat Eastbourne. So
I think Bellevue will get there. I really do.
They have got a nice team, haven't they? They've got a good team.
Mark Thomas says, watch out for Davey at Coventry Storm. Looked decent and won his last 2 heats comfortably.
Mitchell Davey.
Heat 15 was a mile clear against Daniel and Zach.
Yeah.
He also says, went to Coventry Pool early in the season. Coventry had TR and win by 2. As a neutral, seemed unfair. There you go.
Well, as I said, I mean, I want to see fairness in Speedway.
I think I think having the rule say it's only for whatever you decide to have, the tactical element just being available to the away side. I think that's fair,
Maybe.
and it combats home track.
Well, maybe as well if they have the tactical ride and you can pick double points, but only if you start from a handicap.
Well, that would be no good at Eastbourne, would it?
Be no good at a few places, I don't think so.
Yeah, so but anyway, that's my opinion. I think that having something to say as a supporter about, will he use this rider or will he do that, that helps create intrigue, I guess is the word I'm looking for, amongst supporters. And sometimes
Gives the team manager something to do as well.
Well, yeah, I mean,
they
they don't have an awful lot to do other than to say, go on then, win this race. Oh, I never thought of that. So anyway, there you go. Crowds will go up in the Premier League. We will gain assets, and it is the only league we haven't finished top of in the modern era. I can't argue with any of that, really.
Possibly the first one I'd argue with.
You don't think the crowds will go up?
I don't think they go up massively.
I don't think
They weren't.
massively. I think they will go up.
To be fair, the crowds weren't brilliant in the Premier League the first time around. They were.
Well,
once the novelty started to wear off.
I have a theory about that, but
that's just a personal opinion. So
we haven't got time for that. Dingle says, can't believe my prediction was 12 points out against Coventry. You should have listened to. You should have asked the guru.
Of course.
That's what I call. What can I say? What can I say?
Can you give me my lottery numbers for the weekend?
Yeah, if you split it like 75-25, that'll do.
Okay. So, shall we do it? Shall we talk about Coventry, Birmingham versus Coventry first of all? What can you say? I mean, Mitchell Davey, it's quite interesting. You do read between the lines, and every time Graham Drury is mentioned in a press release about, Mitchell Davey was quite good, he's gone, the Australian. He's making a point, isn't he?
He's making a point, yeah. So.
Do you agree with him?
Being I was going to say Little England, but he's Welsh, isn't he? So.
Yes.
So.
Yes. And that, of course, is a topic for later about how Brexit's going to affect Speedway.
Yes, of course.
That's interesting. I actually think there is the potential for us to do something with that to help British Speedway and British riders, but perhaps that's a programme all of its own. Maybe. So, okay. So we went to Coventry and we beat them 29-61. Which is just a ridiculous score. I can just look back to my teenager self in the 70s and 80s and imagine telling him that we just went to Coventry and won them by that score, and I think you would just have to pick me up off the floor.
It was a stunning result, to be honest. I don't think it was a very good result for Speedway, but it was a tremendous result for the Brummies.
It certainly wasn't a good result for Coventry. Yeah, I mean the Storm's manager, whose name It's Lawrence, isn't
Lawrence
it?
Rogers.
Lawrence Rogers, that's right. He said they were better than us. It's as simple as that.
Well, I think everybody knew they didn't they? But
and then bemoaned his luck and said, this had happened and that hadn't happened. And yep, they were Coventry, were very, very, very unlucky. They were unlucky that all of our riders were better than their riders. I think that's the be all and end all of that. There's not a lot not to say about it other than I think it must have given the riders some belief going into the next match. I think it probably gave us a supporters' belief as well. It was great to see Tom Perry come back, and he got a paid maximum, didn't he?
good match to come back into, I think, really.
Well, there is that, and Tom Bacon. There's a wonderful video of, for those people out there, and there's been a few that say Tom Bacon can't pass. Check out the BSPA site of the Coventry match, and you'll probably change your mind. Fantastic race with him in it. So next day we roll on up to Kent at the ridiculous hour of 6:30. Some of us do, and what
Not
a
you, though.
performance!
You didn't go there.
No, I didn't
no.
go there. But you said that Birmingham would win, so I knew they wouldn't. So we were talking last week about how it would be very, very difficult for us to hold on to that lead, and we could sort of see that you might get to a position where there'd be a race off, and then you'd have to hope Danny Ayre's got an engine failure. But we beat them by 4 points. And to be fair, during the match, as I'm watching it on updates, you could see it coming to that, couldn't you? It did at one point look as if that's what we were.
Close all the way through, wasn't it? In fairness.
I think we was only behind in the match once. We went level, and we was never behind on aggregate. We went level, and when we went level, I thought, but what a great start! 5-1 from Zach.
Well, he's had
Zach
a lot of.
and
Well, he's
Damien.
to be fair to Zach, he's had quite a bit of criticism, hasn't he? Which is probably a little bit unwarranted, given how in fact he's still very, very young and still learning his trade.
Incredibly
But he really needed that performance on Monday.
Dingle says Coventry was so bad, I believe some of them are still trying to complete their races. I think some of them are still trying to get the Kevlars on. It's sad. It's sad for them. So
A touch of sarcasm there. in your-
not at all.
Sounded like it, didn't it?
Not at all. Not
Oh,
at
no,
all.
okay.
Not at all. Yeah, back to Kent. And Zach Vitanek. I mean, it was great in the Coventry match and then in the Kent match to see. There was a couple of races from what I read where he didn't quite make the gate against Danny Ayres, but was very, very close to taking him on the last lap.
And Danny Ayres isn't slow either.
No, he isn't. No. Well, we knew that from. I mean, he got the maximum at Perry Bar, didn't they? So hopefully, he's turned a corner, and maybe it was an engine issue, maybe it was confidence. Who
As I
knows?
say, I said last week though, Birmingham have got riders who can do well at Kent, so I suppose on that basis maybe it wasn't a big surprise.
Yeah, it was. Well, because of all the scores that Kent have been. I mean, Kent went to Eastbourne and beat Eastbourne, which was the first result that made everybody sort of sit up and take notice of them. Really,
Did Eastbourne not suffer injuries in that meeting? I think they did, didn't they? So
I think they did, but I don't. I mean, it was a big score they beat them by.
Yeah.
I don't think the injuries would have made that much difference. So, wow! So we won the trophy. We've won the first.
Hang on, which trophy? This one?
That's the
Or
one.
that one? Yeah.
Oh, wow! He's on the ball today.
He is,
isn't
yeah.
So,
He's dangerous. So.
Yes, the first time we've had our name on that trophy. In a way, I'm hoping it's the last time we have our name on that trophy. Controversial, because that means we'll be up in the Premier League.
Of course. A trophy's a trophy.
Absolutely, that's what we won it and nobody else did.
Yeah.
Eastbourne will say, "Well, we weren't in it," to which I will say, "You were too scared to be in it." Talking of Eastbourne, we have the small matter of a match at Eastbourne on Saturday. I believe they've got a few riders missing.
I'm presuming you won't be going because you're not a big fan of
I'm
Eastbourne's
not.
track.
I'm tempted because it would be quite. I just got this feeling, you know,
Mhm.
and the way the lads are riding at the moment, I would be tempted to go just to see us beat them. That would be nice. But I've decided that I'm going to save any trip I have to Eastbourne to if we're in a semi-final or a final against them, that sort of thing. So I will probably watch it. But I might change my mind. Who knows? It's been known. Of course, we're without Zach. Him and I can't remember who now. Another rider from Eastbourne are riding at a grass track meeting. I think I'm not sure it's Zach's sort of track. So maybe,
How did they get on there last season?
yeah. I think he sort of did okay there. Wasn't his best track.
Don't know whether I suppose when he saw the first time he saw it, his jaw probably hit the floor like a lot of people do when they see that track. So
I think,
Dingle
yeah.
says our team are so good away, but we really need to sort out our own track. Some of the team just don't trust it. Far too inconsistent and unpredictable.
I think the problem is it's the last few meetings. It's been totally different every other week, hasn't it?
Yes.
Which doesn't help.
But can we just go back to the table?
Unbeaten, of course. Yeah. No, but I understand what Dingle's saying. Look, we've had a couple of meetings this year where we've been. Let's be honest, the Eastbourne meet in particular, we were lucky to get over the line. Actually, it wasn't so much us being lucky as Eastbourne shooting themselves in the foot in that meeting. It would turn Lee Adams into Adam Kirby. I don't think that's true.
I think that's a bit harsh, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Jason Lyons wouldn't have had any trouble riding that track. You know, we've got to understand that some of these. He did probably break the track record on last week's track. Actually, it was. It's interesting actually hearing some comments from people saying, "Oh, you know, the track was too slick," and they already. I think people automatically assume that when there's no passing, that's because the track's slick, and it wasn't slick. It was anything but slick.
Was there maybe too much material on it?
Possibly, it was a bit patchy. They were having difficulty. It got better and better. You know, we'd had 2 days of heavy rain. Riders had been complaining about the track being too slick.
Yeah.
You know, so these are all sort of elements that made, you know. But Dingle is right. We need consistency. We need consistency. A lot of it's been down to weather, but not all of it. So we have struggled at home, which has perhaps made us a little bit more pessimistic.
To be honest, I mean, I don't think that the racing at Perrybar this season has been brilliant this season. It certainly hasn't been anywhere near as good as it was last season.
I think
the track's played a big part in it. I mean, the Bellevue meeting a few weeks ago was blooming awful, to be honest. The track conditions really played a part in that because there was no passing at all, was there?
No, there wasn't. And which, you know, is because we know we've got riders that can and do pass for fun.
Yeah.
Tom Perry being obviously of course he hasn't been there for the past couple of meetings. I think Tom Perry would have loved that track last week, by the way. I think, you know, he'd have thought, oh, I've got dirt everywhere here.
Yeah.
You know, I think he would have enjoyed that track and would certainly have scored more than Matt Williamson did. But I think the track caught him out like it caught everybody else out. Yeah, we just need to get it right. It's just, you know, there's no ifs and buts about it. We need to get it right because if we want to win something, we've already won something, haven't we? If we want to win the league, we want to win a playoff.
Is track preparation a dying art, do you think? Because I saw Ty Wuffingen put on Twitter a few weeks ago, I can't remember which meeting it was an Elite League meeting on Sky, and he said, looking at the track conditions, and people wonder why I don't ride in the Elite League.
Right.
I do think on some occasions there's certain clubs that I think prepare the meeting just so that they can win the meeting, and don't really
I think that's true.
Really, entertainment is a secondary importance.
I think that's true. I don't know what the answer to that is, other than somebody that would ideally be the referee, but a referee's not necessarily going to know about track preparation. Somebody is appointed that.
Because I will say,
that.
because I will say, you know, we've had 4 GPs this season, and I think the racing in all 4 of them has been excellent, and I think the tracks have been good. When you consider that 2 of them have been on temporary tracks as well, Warsaw and Horsens, where temporary tracks, and they seem to have. Melbourne last season I think was the turning point, because that was a superb track.
Yes. They've got the hang of it, haven't they?
They've got the hang of it there. It'll be interesting to see what happens in a couple of weeks at Cardiff, because Cardiff has been disappointing the last few seasons for racing. But yeah, I've said this before. I think back to the season when we finished bottom of the Elite League in 2008, and yet that season for me was probably the most exciting season of racing I've seen at Wolves.
Right.
Every single week was excellent racing, even though we were garbage and lost most weeks.
I can remember days in
Even-
the 80s when that was true of Birmingham, where we hadn't got the greatest team, but we had some great matches.
When you've seen a great meeting, to be honest, even when Wolves have won or lost, I've seen really good meeting, and I've come out of a meeting buzzing.
Yeah.
Really, really enjoyed it. And there's been other times when we've won, it's been boring, to be honest. And when you're at a meeting and you start looking at your watch and wondering what time, how much longer it's going to go on for, you can't enjoy things when you feel like that.
Dingle says our team excel on slick away tracks. I think our team at the moment excels on all tracks apart from Perry Bar. Kings Lynn's not necessarily a slick track, and we demolished them.
Yeah.
I don't know. They just it needs to be consistent. It needs to be the same every week.
Well, you're obviously the best man in the room to discuss this, because you're obviously partially involved in the track preparation at Birmingham. So,
well, yeah,
as a raker, so
yeah, I certainly see how it is different.
There is more to it than just putting the rake on and dragging it across the.
Is there? Nobody told me.
Yeah. Well, you're not even on the stuff, are you? You just sneak on there with it, don't you?
Well, this is true. I actually bring my own rake. At this level, slick track doesn't make for poor racing. The 2 best track men in the country, Buster and Doc, always produce slicker tracks for National League. It is safer.
Doc Bridget really is a tremendous trackman.
I think that's right, and I think So the problem that we've got with that is that the riders keep asking for it to be grippy. And then if your captain asks for it to be grippy, that's sort of what you do. But I think they've just, a couple of times they've gone too far. I think they would have been tremendous Premier League tracks. Last week's was just too inconsistent, and it's why Matt Williamson fell, because he's got in grip, and then all of a sudden you lose grip, and your back wheel sort of overtakes you, and off you go. But yeah, I think we've got to.
I know when Lionel Van Praag rode for Wembley in the early 30s, he used to demand 4 inches of dirt on the track. I don't think you can have that now, to be honest.
They don't look that old, to be fair.
Well, it's just Botox as well.
We ought to, in the last few minutes that we've got, congratulate Jason Doyle.
Yes, I was going to mention, two Brummie riders on the podium, of course, because Chris Harris got 3rd.
Yes.
Out of nowhere, really.
Yeah, well, so where did that come from? He wants to be part of the World Cup, doesn't he? Yeah, well, I don't know whether you can get the GP current standings up quickly, but if you can't, who's leading now? Is it still Chris Holder?
I think Greg Hancock's still is leading now.
Greg Hancock.
I think it's very, very close at the top between Greg Ty and Chris Holder. But Chris Holder was really disappointing on Saturday in Prague. Really struggled. Nicky Pedersen did as well, although in fairness to Nicky, he's not fit at the moment, so he's got.
Do you think Nicky Pedersen's basically is on a downward slope? Would you say now?
Oh, you'd be a very brave man to write. You'd be a very brave man to write him off, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, Nicky gets a lot of stick, but I will say the GP will be a poorer place without him.
Yes,
because you can't take your eyes off the guy when he's on the track.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I mean, he puts bums on seats because you come to not like him, don't you?
He puts bums on the shale as well sometimes. Yeah. So.
Oh, he's on form today. He's on form today.
Where will it be on that?
It'll be
SJP results, I believe.
There you go. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, I'm on that page.
But Jason Doyle. I mean, we've been saying for a year and a half. I think both
really
of us.
has come on in the last few years, hasn't he? So,
is he a contender?
I think he's a contender for a medal. I'm not sure he's ready to win the championship, but
has he stopped? Because he does have he has previously had a habit of. I mean, he's such a racer, and perhaps just trying just that little bit too hard to get past people and slipping off.
Yeah, I think that was maybe an issue last season. I don't think it's been so much this season.
Right.
I think that's more down to him maturing as a rider. When you're young, you just go out to try and win every single race, don't you? And sometimes...
you do. I mean, he's come to Grand Prix quite late, really, as well, hasn't he? But, I mean, he had that shoulder problem and so on, which I think is probably what hampered him more than anything.
Chris Harris was actually gating at times. Said Dingle.
And he said something else as well.
That's why I went
what the
quiet.
flip?
What the flip? I like that.
Nicky Pedersen gained his World Championship titles on one hand.
How he managed to find a finger to break is beyond me.
I know he probably broke it a few years ago, didn't he? Because he punched a wall and in order to be excluded, they managed to break his hand, broke one of his fingers. So
did he?
Yeah.
Oh, bless him. Bless him. But do you know what? It's like you say. One thing that Speedway is devoid of that he used to have them in bucket loads. You think of people like Arthur Browning, some of the things that he used to get up to. What was that Australian Gary Middleton? Some of the things
I've heard some stories about him.
Yeah, I mean, you miss that. You miss that.
Yeah.
They're all a bit too media savvy and so on. And
well, I've quoted this story before, I think, but. Can't remember which track it was at, but two riders had a bit of a clash on the track and cambered a bit and basically started squaring up to each other, and the harm promoter came rushing out and saying, "Don't do it here, get on the track where I can see you."
Yeah, I remember. But it's right. It's absolutely right. Whereas now, people would say, "Do it in the pit.
Yeah.
Do it in the pit."
Nothing wrong with it with a needle. Nothing wrong with it with a needle at all.
No, absolutely.
If you correct talking points, then.
So we've got 3 minutes to decide on who's going to win at Eastbourne. Are Eastbourne going to be the first team to lower Birmingham's colours, which they were last year?
I think Eastbourne will win on Saturday.
Okay. Do you think Birmingham manage a point?
In with a chance.
Mm-hmm.
Go for the win. So you're laughing again. That's 2 times you've laughed on the trot.
I'm going to go for a draw. How about that?
Oh,
You're sitting on the fence again.
I would take a draw right now, wouldn't you? Yeah, in that position, wouldn't you take a draw? I mean, that'd be
points of Eastbourne can't be sniffed at now. Well, 2 points, wouldn't it? So
wouldn't it?
there's a draw. So
we shall see. We shall see. Do you know, my juices are starting to.
Ooh,
I might go.
Can I say before we go, I've had some problems with the camera. First of all, one camera packed up, and then for some reason the other camera's packed up. So people have been listening to us and watching a still picture of yourself. Unfortunately,
they've had to just look at
and
me.
it's not a nice picture.
No. It wouldn't.
But we'll get it sorted. For next
we'll
week.
get it sorted. This is, as we've said before, this is all.
It just froze on me. The camera's off. So.
Yeah, this is all a sort of work in progress as we try to work out how to do this.
Yeah.
But hopefully you've all enjoyed the show. Good luck to the Brummies on Saturday at Eastbourne. And have you got a match this week? I've turned into Sean Connery for some reason.
Splendid.
That's terrible.
No, it was you. Yep, 2 matches against Leicester. Leicester on Saturday over at Barnett Park, and then the return on Monday at Monmouth. And then the trip to Bellevue next Wednesday, which...
you need to win them, don't you, really? The Leicester
2
matches.
Leicester's, the away one's going to be tricky with a weakened side. But certainly beating them at home. It'd be nice to get something at Bellevue as well, but that's going to be a tall order, I think.
You're going to Bellevue because I think you've been looking.
I'm not sure yet. It is on Sky, so
right.
It's Wednesday's not a. Birmingham won't have a match, I don't think, on the Wednesday. I think
next Wednesday, I think we're Knockout Cup, isn't it?
Against Bellevue. Ironically, yes.
Surprisingly.
Just a quick one, Daniel. Why were you excluded first race Sunday? Didn't he hit you?
Pardon?
No.
Would you like to repeat that again? Can I see it?
Don't understand it. Yeah, sure. It's at the bottom. There you go.
Okay. Daniel, why were you excluded first race Sunday? Oh, I see.
Right, yeah.
Why were you excluded? So, yeah, I can't answer that. I don't know. So maybe somebody else out there knows. Daniel Hume was excluded in the first race, and he's saying that somebody hit him.
Oh, right, okay.
On
And just
the
sort of
track.
say
So,
that the videos come back on. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Hello and goodbye. Thank you very much. This has been the Speedway Tavern. Have a great week and see you at the bar on Wednesday. Take care, everyone.
Welcome to the Sports Radio Music Show here from one of the hives of Birmingham, the Jam House. This is an absolute banger. You could argue this is the jewel in the crown of Brum. I'm joined by the organiser of tonight, Ben Drummond. How are you, mate?
Very well, thank you. Good.
Tell me about you, tell me about the place, tell me about what you're doing. I've got to say, the steak and the soup, absolutely fantastic,
Good,
and a
mate.
lovely pint of Guinness to
There
do.
you go, that's always a good start. Well,
Yeah.
my name's Ben Drummond, as
Yeah.
you said. I'm the music director, and I organise the acoustic sessions
Yes.
here at the club. We typically have 7 acts on. We put them on quick rotation. If they do well, if the club likes them, we put them on for their own night.
Yep.
You know, paid and supported, and then they have a bigger crowd, like 600 or 700 people crowd, and yeah, that's the way we go about it, really.
Now, you are a musician in your own right.
I am, yeah.
I've just watched you do a couple of songs. That right hand of yours, mate, you play that guitar with every part and every finger.
Yeah.
I've never seen a guitarist like you. You're almost like kind of Santana on speed.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I mean, being a bass player,
Yep.
that certainly helps. And then I lived in Spain for 2 years, developed some techniques there. So yeah, I mean, you know, pushing the boundaries forward.
There's quite a bit of a flamenco kind of feel to that. So did you get that from Spain?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I managed to hang out for like 2 years of that. I went for 2 weeks, stayed for 2 years, and we went up into the mountains and hanging around with real Andalusian gypsies, and they showed me a lot of those techniques, and I took it on board and made my own thing with it.
And you say, I mean, you do this. How often do you do these?
This particular night
Yeah.
is the last Tuesday of the month. It's a booked event, so it's
Yeah.
not an open mic. So each act can promote it and do their own thing.
Yeah.
They're not waiting around all night or getting a little piece here and there. They get an actual show. Wednesday nights I do at the Virtue Bar, which is another jewellery quarter gig.
Okay.
And that's an open band night, so people can get up. And it's all part of the live music scene in Birmingham. Contrary to popular belief, there is a big buzz going on in the city. We've got Monday nights down the Brown Lion, is it?
Andy, my mate, Andy and Calic, yeah.
Yeah, and we've got Tuesday nights obviously here, Wednesday nights Virtue Bar. Then places like your Sutton Coldfield and that are doing their things at the station.
Andy Bennett's up there as well.
Yeah, I mean, he gets around, doesn't he?
Yeah, Andy, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you're right. I mean, there are, since I've hooked up and started doing this with the Birmingham music scene, and we don't just concentrate on Birmingham. Music is...
That's universal, man, isn't it?
It is, but I have a massive problem with commercial radio not playing, not projecting it. When you've got a radio, out of that radio set, if you're a music-based radio station, should be songs. You want to find the next act, you want to find these back-of-the-net songs that are recorded, and it doesn't happen. And that's why we're doing what we're doing, and we're linking up, and I am absolutely bowled over with the amount of talent
it's
up
really-
and down the country,
Yeah.
and they're all saying the same thing.
Yeah.
It's hard
Well,
work.
it's a massive industry behind that. You've got radio
Yep.
pushers, you've got labels who can afford to, I think I read somewhere that Rihanna can have a team of writers do a song for £1 million or $1 million a piece. You put £1 million, $1 million into the scene in Birmingham, you see how many artists you're going to get, see how many Ivan Novellos you're going to win, Grammys you're going to get, because the people live and breathe it, and they don't need teams of writers like your Freddie Mercury wrote Bohemian Rhapsody, didn't he? He didn't have a team of writers,
Give
They're
me,
out there, you know.
give me 50 quid and I'll find them, I promise you.
yeah.
Because you're absolutely right, Ben.
They're out there.
There are so many
You know what, there's seven
talented...
of them here tonight. For the right record producer and the right team of people, you can make a lot of money with these guys, and they could as well, you know.
I'm amazed with you know, because my background is pretty much football, but I've always loved music. I love Paul Weller. I couldn't hold a note in a bag, and I couldn't play anything. But you know, if you look at Paul Weller as a tree and the branches, that's, you know, where I'm at.
Right.
So many. I mean, there's a young lad, Sammy Rogers, that
Ask
we're playing a
yourself
lot.
would you get another Paul Weller now?
No, you wouldn't. Nor a David Bowie.
would you
Nor
get
a Paul
another Freddie?
McCartney. Do you know what? They wouldn't even have the Beatles.
No.
Because it's absolutely... It's almost so watered down